that reminds me of the great accessibility of Carol Burnett, because she was like, my mom would laugh, and I knew there was more grown-up stuff going down there. I was a kid, I would laugh because it was her physicality and all that, and they seemed to be having such fun. So imagine that, the kid in Pittsburgh eventually moves to Montecito, and Carol Burnett lives here, and I cross her path, and we end up being mates. Absolutely blows my mind. To sit here and be able to act as an interlocutor for somebody who so represents such joy to me is truly a pleasure. Usually, when you talk to somebody who's done it all, you kind of do a triptych through that, but I want to say, what do you want us to do still? Because your energy is so infectious.
Oh.
What do you see coming down the road?
Bradley Cooper.
I thought that wasn't
I was saying George Clooney, but it always gets a good response.
Well, he has a nice energy about it. What still is an unchecked box if such a thing exists for somebody?
There really isn't, Dennis. Things are happening for me that I never dreamed would happen at my age. It kind of started, I guess, if you want to call it a renaissance, and I was in the original Renaissance. Anyway, 2 or 3 years ago when I did a guest shot on Better Call Saul, it went very well, and I just adored Vince Gilligan, the creator, and Peter Gould, and of course Bob Odenkirk. And after that aired, my husband and I would go out to dinner or something, and people who didn't know me from my show, variety show, say, "Oh, you're that lady on Better Call Saul." Yeah, and then the next thing I know, I get a call from Abe Sylvia, who is a producer and writer of a series called Palm Royale. He said, "We'd love you to be on it." And I said, "Well, what's it about?" And they said, "Well, it stars Kristen Wiig, Allison Janney, Laura Dern, Ricky Martin, Leslie Bibb, Julia Duffy, on and on and on." I said, "I'm in. I don't care what you want me to do." And then I found out that I would be this woman, matriarch of high society in the 70s in Palm Beach. But I would be in a coma for a few episodes.
Funny idea.
So what I wound up doing was I'd get up at 5 in the morning, go to the studio, get the makeup trailer, get made up, put on a costume, and go back to bed. I thought this was a good gig.
Well, I was hoping as I watched it when they first showed you supine in the bed completely out that you would pull on your ear. That would be your first thing. That would be the first thing. She's coming to.
I should have done that. I should have done that.
I always think of you as feminine, and you're so proper, and you have such great manners, and you're so witty and erudite. But I always say to Carol, inside Carol somewhere, and you have to have this in show business, you're a stone killer when it comes time to you know what I mean? You went down and hit the ball hard, right?
Oh, yeah.
When I think back on that time, at that point you were known in New York, but the theater scene is kind of, at that point, unto itself in New York. But you exploded on that show, right?
I taught myself how to fall.
Right.
And how to walk into walls and get pies in the face.
Here with my friend Carol Burnett. And by the way, this is as early as you have to get to Lucky's to beat your lovely husband Brian to the check.
That's true.
No, but he could be overseas coming back, and we would be meeting for dinner, and he'd call in from Sierra Leone to pick up the bill before we get here. So we're here at one of our favorite places in the afternoon, and one of the themes is they have all these great
he always
pictures. Curates beautiful pictures of great stars, and I love the one right over your shoulder, Carol, because you're with Ed Sullivan,
right.
who's
I remember the first time I got to on his show. Well, when I first got to New York, I thought, should I change my name? Because there was another actress named Carol Burnett. And I thought maybe they're going to get us mixed up or whatever. And my middle name is Creighton, which was my mother's maiden name, Carol Creighton. And then I thought, no, if I ever made it, I want Carol Burnett because I want Tommy Tracy to know. Because he was the crush I had in junior high school. I want him to know that it's me, you know.
Well, when I think back on your show, you were the hostess with the mostest, and then the gang was all there. I think about the new Rat Packs. It's always going to be, there's going to be a group of people. And I love the fact as we sit here in Lucky's, I think, you know, all the young comedians and comedic actresses want to, they want to, you know, it's like they want to, you're a lodestone for them. And they came, tell me about the Palm Royale girls coming up here.
They are so great. Most of my scenes were with Kristen Wiig and Ricky Martin, which is, and she is, but and then you look at Allison Janney. I mean, and Laura Dern.
Oscar, Emmys, just
all of them.
Great jobs, Laura, great jobs.
And couldn't be sweeter. It was a gang. It was a party. I was really lucky. What was Saul in this one, in Palm Royale? There was no temperament, no divas, no nothing. Everybody
Beautiful
was
esprit de corps on those shows.
totally. Everybody was on time. We knew our lines. We laughed in between scenes. You know, it's
yeah, blessed.
I really feel blessed.
Yeah. Carol Burnett, ladies and gentlemen.